Thank you very much, Marcel. It's really great to be here once again. I want to thank AMLD and Marcel Salaté for the possibility of talking this morning. Innovaud and the Office of Economic Affairs of the Canton of Vaud are really happy to support this event. I'll start with a very short reminder about the geography, because some of you are not from Switzerland. We are one of the westernmost cantons or provinces of Switzerland, with about 10% of the population of Switzerland here, 800,000 people. And what's more interesting is about 10% of that, about 80,000 people, are either students or faculty members of different academic institutions, and this is pretty important for innovation. Now, about startup, it's become kind of a tradition for me to give you some update on the startup scene in Switzerland. There is a ranking, the top 100 in Switzerland, that's given every year, and at the end of last year, again, Vaud and this region was very well placed with 4 in the top 10 startups. You see them in green here. Actually, all 4 of them are EPFL spin-offs. And also very good news, that's not completely official yet, but 2019 was a record year for Switzerland in terms of VC investments in startups. And also for the Canton of Vaud here, we are very close to $500 million Swiss francs invested in startups. But existing startups, also same problem, yes. Existing startups and scale-ups is very good, but you need also new creations, and I'm happy to report it was also a record for the creation of new deep tech startups in Canton of Vaud last year, almost 1 per week, newly created high-tech, deep tech startup, and this number is growing. This is very encouraging. So where does this dynamism come from? Well, one of the key reasons, there are many, but one is the strength of the academic network, and first among those institutions is, of course, EPFL. But to mention 1 or 2 others, there is the University Hospital, the CHUV, that's pretty amazing in terms of research. And also I can mention ECAL, the design school. Design is very important, as you know, in many innovations. But you also need a support ecosystem. It is developing very strongly. Looking at last year, there was over 10 million Swiss francs grants and loans, so non-dilutive help in the Canton of Vaud. We have numbers of coaches, of course, and 7 innovation parks. One is very close to here, EPFL Innovation Park. We have a new one since last year, Aéropole. It's based on the runway in Payerne and is welcoming drones and aerospace type of ventures. 50 events, this is one of them. A lot of opportunities for people to connect and meet. Accelerators, I'll mention just the 2 newest ones. Tech for Trust supports cybersecurity and generally trust-related startups. And very recently, there was the launch of the Swiss Quantum Hub, supporting quantum computing startup, a growing field in the area. So now about the spotlight. Every year, you know, I'm highlighting several startups. There were the 5 on the left 2 years ago, the 5 on the right 1 year ago. I'm happy to report they are all doing fine. Some of them, I mark them SUD, are present this Wednesday, maybe also in certain tracks, so don't hesitate to connect with them and see how they are doing. For today, we have especially selected 5 startups that are visible on the booth, on the place where the Canton of Vaud and Innovaud have a presence here. The 5 are Pictera. They use satellite or drone imagery to detect objects, cars, trees, using machine learning to do that. Scientific Visual, an interesting application to detect very early defects in industry crystals. You can think about sapphire crystals that are cut for watchmaking. You want to detect the defects very, very early. Neural Concept, a very new startup using machine learning to improve 3D modeling, CAD, for development of vehicles, objects, buildings, and so on. And this year, we are going to do things a bit different, because I'm going to invite the 2 last on this slide. Largo, and I invite both of them to join me on the stage. So Largo Film is using AI and data to help the movie-making industry, so Hollywood typically. And ScanTrust is using AI also to support anti-counterfeiting platform and supply chain traceability solution. So really happy to welcome both of you, Sami and Justin. So Sami is CEO and co-founder of Largo, and Justin is the CTO and co-founder of ScanTrust. And I'm just going to ask you a few questions so the audience better understands what you are doing. So Sami, maybe a first question. What actually are your technologies learning from the movies, and how is it useful for the movie industry?
Hello, everybody. So what we do, we find the recipes of the movies, the main ingredients of a content. For example, our system can understand how the level of drama is changing during the film. You can imagine like a time series for drama. Same way, we can do this for many other attributes like adventure, action, war, gangster, the attributes you can imagine for a film. Then, we can do this both from text and also video, by the way. Then in the next step, we learn some metrics from these patterns. So these are very, with these metrics, actually provide very useful insights for the movie industry. For example, we can tell what is the potential of potential revenue of a film at very early stages, even at script level, very accurately. Then we can show in which countries the audience will be more interested in that type of film, or at script level, which character will fit better to which actor, actresses, and finally, how we can play with these patterns to make the film more successful.
Thank you very much. Now I'm turning to you, Justin. So, as I said, your company is developing anti-counterfeiting solutions and supply chain traceability, but where does AI and machine learning comes into play here?
Yeah, so we've invented a copy-proof QR code, basically a QR code that contains secure graphic elements, which when it gets printed and then copied by a counterfeiter, it loses some of the information. So people, consumers can go like in the shops, scan the QR code with our app and know in real time whether the product they've checked is authentic or a counterfeit. Now, we have to deal with a number of different scanning situations, different type of mobile phones, different images, also different type of printing. And so here, machine learning is very helpful, as our goal obviously is to always give the right answer to the consumer, and we don't want to tell the consumer, hey, you've scanned a fake, while they've just scanned a real product and the image for some reason was fuzzy. So machine learning here is very helpful to tune our performance and minimize our error rate.
Thanks a lot. Sami, I'm a bit disturbed by what you explained, because isn't your approach going to kill creativity because you just repeat what's been already done?
Yeah, so maybe if we talk about the bias in general machine learning systems, almost all machine learning systems are biased for two reasons. First, they are trained under the control of human. Second, the type of the data in general is biased itself. But for us, the question was that if our system is less biased than the current methodology of the movie industry, traditional methods of movie industry. Let me give you actually one example. So what we did a case study for the Academy of Motion Pictures, the organization that is giving Oscars. So we took the 2017 Oscar nominated films and 2018 Oscar nominated films and put into our system. Our system gave all these patterns of like drama, adventure, all attributes, and we averaged separately for 2017 and 18. The surprising thing, these average patterns are almost identical for two different years. And like for example, the level of adventure was 13% in average for 2017, and still 13% for also 2018 nominees. So if we look at from this side, actually AI provides a much wider perspective than the industry it is at this moment. So it doesn't show just only a single recipe, as the Hollywood is doing a lot at this moment. It shows many different recipes which can bring the success to attract the audience. And this way we think it democratizes the industry and increases the variety actually.
Very interesting, thanks a lot. So, Justin, you've been using machine learning for a while now. How do you see that evolving over time? Is it becoming easier?
Basically, when we started, it was really from scratch. We have to collect scans from our production system, label them one by one. It was very, very time consuming, and we had a pretty small data sets in the end, like 20,000 images. And as we see it evolving, is to build. We've been building our machine learning pipeline so that scans are automatically fed into our system, and we think we need several hundred thousands of scans to build a really reliable system. And so we've been building the tools for reaching that goal.
Thank you. What is the approach of the movie industry? Isn't Hollywood already using machine learning?
Yeah, I think like 5 years ago, probably they will be quite closed for the applications of the machine learning in the movie industry for also emotional reasons. But today, Netflix and Amazon disrupted the movie industry very strongly, and partly thanks to data-driven intelligence. They are not traditional, they are not Hollywood companies, they are actually tech companies. That actually changed quite a bit the approach of the movie industry. Now they are much more open for the application of such innovation in the industry. But still we can tell, I mean, we were surprised, still they are quite late adopters, the big Hollywood studios. They still use quite traditional methods in their decision-making process, but this is slowly changing.
Thank you. And one final question for Justin. What are today's challenges for using machine learning? Is it the people? Is it the software?
Well, first of all, I think it's about data collection. Basically, so far we spent maybe 95% of our efforts to actually build the tools and processes so that we can collect data and feed it into our system, and basically only 10 to 5% of the time to work on feature engineering or develop or test new machine learning algorithms. And the challenges I see as we go forward is to avoid falling into this overfitting trap, because basically you learn on the data you've seen, and then how are you sure that your system will work well on new data? So this is, I would say, one of the biggest challenges moving forward.
Very good. Thanks a lot. Let's give them a hand.